Medical ethics is being inverted. Find out about that and more in today's edition of Life Matters. Brian Johnston is the Western Director of the National Right to Life Committee. He has served in many capacities while advocating for innocent lives, as California Commissioner on Aging, as Chairman of the California Pro-Life Council, on the board of the National Legal Center for the Medically Dependent and Disabled. And now here's our host, Brian Johnston.
Welcome back to Life Matters. This is a very special program. We're going to talk about the overturn of Roe versus Wade, the Dobbs decision. I have to tell you, though, many people, many Americans, and many pro-life individuals never fully understood what Roe versus Wade did, and so they don't fully comprehend what the Dobbs decision now has done. Dobbs, we're celebrating, but you need to know, Dobbs does not ban a single abortion, regardless of what NBC, ABC, PBS, your local news, regardless of what the progressive left is saying, regardless of what is being shouted in the streets, regardless of what they're saying as they're throwing Molotov cocktails at crisis pregnancy centers. The Dobbs decision does not ban a single abortion. What the Dobbs decision did is it returned the right of a state. We have 50 states in the U.S. Each of the 50 states has its own laws. And you may not realize this, but it has a duty under the Constitution. It has a duty, a specific duty in society, even before the Constitution was written. Every government has a compelling state interest to protect the lives of the innocent within its boundaries. That's why every government that's come into existence has instituted a thing called the police to stop miscreants from harming innocent people. That's the real purpose of the police. In a police state, even that is twisted. But the reason governments come into existence, the reason they're, as the founders of America said, the reason that governments are instituted among men is to ensure the self-evident truths, the God-given rights given to you by a creator, and the very first one is your right to be alive. So governments have a duty. But what Roe versus Wade did is it stripped each of the states. Every state had laws saying you can't kill that baby in the womb. Some had more liberal laws like California, Colorado, New York, and Massachusetts, and said, well, you can do it early on, but after so many weeks, I don't think so. You better have a real hardcore reason like rape, incest, life of the mother. That's how it was before 73. What Roe versus Wade actually did, contrary to what your newspaper says, contrary to even what your pastor or your church may say, what Roe actually did is it took away the duty of the state to protect life, to define this is a human life, and we're going to protect this human life. It's called, again, in law, the compelling state interest to protect life. It took that and handed it to one person, a single person, an abortionist. And in Roe v. Wade, if you were an MD, you don't have to be an OBG, by the way. There was no requirements that you study obstetrics. You could be an ear, nose, and throat MD. Under Roe v. Wade, if you had an MD degree, you were free to do abortions. And that's why a lot of doctors that couldn't get work elsewhere became abortionists, because it had very little requirements. Just have that MD degree, just get matriculated from medical school, and bang, you can be an abortionist. What Roe versus Wade did is simple. It took the right to define when this is a human being. It took it away from the state, and it gave it to the abortionist alone. And they were allowed, according to Doe v. Bolton. Doe v. Bolton was the companion decision. Again, folks who listen to this program and read my books, they know that Roe is really two decisions. And it's the Doe decision that told doctors to define the health of the mother as psychological or sociological health. Anything in that doctor's mind, that's in Doe. But specifically, Roe combined with Doe never said that a woman can have an abortion anytime she wants. It never says that. It says the opposite. It says that only doctors can decide. So that's very important to understand. What Roe v. Wade did is it took the authority of the state government away, and it gave that only to doctors. If you don't believe me, and some people don't because the media doesn't tell them that, their pro-life friends don't even tell them that, please listen to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg understood what Roe v. Wade really did. So listen to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She agrees with me.
Another feature of Roe is Roe really isn't about the woman's choice, is it? It's about the doctor's freedom to practice his profession as he thinks best. It wasn't woman-centered. It was physician-centered.
So that was Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 2013 at a reproductive rights conference. But the fact is, most people don't know what Roe did, and so you will not appreciate what Dobbs did. Dobbs simply allows state governments to again protect the lives of those within their borders. And that's the job of a state government. It is what's called the compelling state interest to protect innocent life. So Roe v. Wade is an important decision in American history. Many people have oversimplified it and reduced it, and they don't understand it. Dobbs overturned Roe. Dobbs overturned Roe. Roe took rights away from the state government. Dobbs returned those rights and authority to the states to protect the innocent. So when we celebrate Roe, and when we come back, I'll go into greater depth on this, we're celebrating now the freedom to protect unborn babies. So you should celebrate. But there's much more. This is the celebration, you might say, many of us had. They had when we were alive, if you were alive at the time. But I celebrated June 6th this year. It was the anniversary of D-Day. Because finally what happened on D-Day is that a government had taken over other countries. The Nazi ideas of government had taken over France and all of its provinces and was free to kill innocent human beings under that legal system. Finally, on D-Day, we were able to start attacking the Nazis and free the province of Normandy. That's where we started. And so if you want to light off fireworks about the Dobbs decision and you want to celebrate, know that on the first D-Day, they had fireworks too, but they were the flares of the early morning battles. We are now on the beach of D-Day, particularly in California and in every state. It's about the state's ability. Each state now has the ability to protect life. In California, there are national socialized government people who do not want the protection of innocent life. They control our government. We now have the right in California to start fighting for legal protection in California. Other states are going to have an easier time, and we celebrate with them, and we join in that fight with them. But if you want to light off fireworks, realize those are the battle flares of D-Day for the state of California in particular. Most of our listeners now are in California. If you're out of state, you still have a battle in your state. Don't think it's going to be easy. But what Dobbs did is it returned to each state the right to once again protect human lives and define when they will protect those lives within their state borders. Roe v. Wade took away that authority and gave it only to abortionists. So you got to understand Roe and Doe if you're going to understand Dobbs. And again, you could get more information from my book. You do need to understand what Roe really did. My book is Evil Twins, Roe and Doe, How the Supreme Court Unleashed Medical Killing. But when we come back, we'll talk about what this means now in each individual state. And we're going to spend specific time on this Normandy. You know, Normandy was a province, that's a jurisdiction, of France. It's composed of the Normandy Peninsula. And that's where the war really started in earnest. That's where National Socialism was removed first. The heavy boots of the Nazi worldview had to be removed province by province, jurisdiction by jurisdiction, and that's what Dobbs is allowing us to do. We will fight for each jurisdiction. We'll fight on the landing grounds, on the fields. We'll fight in the state capitol. And by fight, I mean the battle of ideas, because that's what we talk about here on Life Matters. We're in a real battle, but it's a battle of ideas. We want you to know how those ideas really apply. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Life Matters.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. Retailers, shopping channels, and now even banks have tried to cancel myself and MyPillow. During these times, your support has meant everything to us. So my employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you by passing the savings directly on to you. We're selling the best products ever for the best prices ever. For example, we have my towels with proprietary technology, which makes them soft and absorbent. Towels that work, what a concept. They're made with USA cotton and come in a variety of awesome colors. My 6-piece towel set is regularly $109.99, now just $39.99 with your promo code.
And that promo code is LIFE. So go to MyPillow, put in the promo code LIFE, and you'll get some wonderful discounts because Mike Lindell believes in you and in Life Matters.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Well, welcome back. We're talking about the Dobbs decision and what it really does. The Supreme Court has finally unshackled state governments and their legislators to talk about when they should start protecting human lives. That was prohibited under Roe v. Wade. I'm simplifying, but you need to understand Roe. And if you didn't hear earlier, Ruth Bader Ginsburg agrees with me. She agreed, she's passed away, but in 2013, she talked about it. We'll play it again. Roe versus Wade did not empower women. Roe versus Wade only empowered doctors, and it took the authority of state government and gave it to abortionists, the authority to decide if a human life should be protected. And according to Roe, an abortion may be effectuated if the doctor thinks so in their judgment without interference from the state. So state governments couldn't protect lives in their own jurisdiction. Dobbs said, no, we're going to let states again protect lives. Here's Ruth Bader Ginsburg one more time.
Another feature of Roe is Roe really isn't about the woman's choice, is it? It's about the doctor's freedom to practice his profession as he thinks best. It wasn't woman-centered. It was physician-centered.
So that is Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 2013 describing what Roe really did. Dobbs said, no, it's not abortionists that get to do whatever they want. The state has a compelling interest to protect the innocent. They can draw the line as to when that legal protection can start. So we celebrate the Dobbs decision, but you need to understand what it really does, and that states are free. We're going to talk now about the jurisdiction of what a state is. It's a jurisdiction. And in the United States, we've got 50 different, they would be autonomous jurisdictions. That's what the word state means, by the way. It's an autonomous government. And in the United States, we've united them under our Constitution, but each state has authority to protect life within its borders. In fact, it's expected that they will protect the lives of those within its borders. So we're going to talk about why that's important, and we're going to spend some time right now on California. California is the big one. California, as I said earlier, is the Normandy. California, there is an ideology controlling state government. That ideology, just as in the province of France we call Normandy and the other provinces of France, a government ideology of nationalized socialism dismissed the value of human life. After the war, they called a government that would do that to innocent people. They saw that that was a crime against humanity. And so we had to oppose the National Socialism that was controlling the province of Normandy. But that idea that human life can be dismissed, even though they're clearly innocent and clearly a human being, that's now controlling the state government of the province of California. Of course, it's a state. And so in California, our work's cut out for us. If you listen to Life Matters, we talk about these details. We want to equip you with facts, because facts are terrible things to waste. So I want to talk a little bit about the laws that Gavin Newsom a 100%, 1,000% pro-abortion Democrat, a woke Democrat of the first order, and he will not be outdone by other Democrats. So this Democrat Party, led by him, he's the iconic leader, they want unlimited abortion and more in California. And what do I mean by more? Well, many of you know that they present a package of bills that the governor already signed on to in advance. And they've moved through the state legislature. I'll talk about one right now. We're going to talk about three today real quickly. But the first one is Senate Bill 1142. So SB 1142 is a bill that says that abortion is so important that the state of California has to provide it for free wherever you are. Now, it already does that, by the way, under Medi-Cal and under earlier decisions by Rose Bird. That goes way back. But also by statute. This bill says it's only dealing with California, but then it reveals the real facts, and you've probably heard about this. It's really designed to take California assets, the resources of the state of California, and pour them into the abortion industry so that California becomes what they're calling a sanctuary for abortion. But really, it becomes the crown jewel of baby killing, that California become the home of unlimited abortion, and people from around the world can come to California. Already, that is the case. It's not well known, but this is specifically targeting those states, those jurisdictions now that want to protect babies. This is to invite those women that are in those jurisdictions to have them come, but it's more. They can come for free abortion, but their expenses will be paid. If they have to take time off work, your state government money will write them a check. If they need lodging, we'll get them a hotel room for as long as they need it. Any recovery time paid for by the state of California. This is a California abortion vacation. That's right, folks. Senate Bill 1142. Any woman in a jurisdiction can come and get a free abortion, no questions asked. But here's the problem. In those other jurisdictions that are now free to protect both women and children, because remember, these laws protect women, the mothers, and the child. There's a question about what's going on. For example, we know that nearly 1/3 of all abortions are done on minors, and many states have laws that require a parent to know about this. Is Gavin Newsom going to fly those minors across state lines? Is he going to fly these individuals to get away from those state laws? Is that licit? Is this a good idea? Is it even talked about? Do people know this? You need to have knowledge about this. They don't want these questions asked. Informed consent. Do you know that every other medical procedure requires a clear explanation of the risks of the procedure, except abortion, which has incredible risk for the mother and the child, obviously. The child, there's some risk for the child in an abortion, but there's great risk for the mother. Every other medical procedure requires that informed consent. California doesn't. There's no, it's plastic. It's phony. It's discussions of choice and blobs of tissue and ending pregnancies. It's very funny. I see that SB 1142, actually, they stole my joke. They stole my joke because it's not a joke. It's not funny, but it's making a point. You know, when people say a woman has a right to terminate her pregnancy, I actually point out, well, that isn't what the discussion is about. A baby, pregnancy is a condition. They don't want to mention that. They don't want to talk about the baby. And I point out that my mom, very few people know this, but my mom terminated a pregnancy and I was born. That ended the pregnancy. My mom wanted to terminate the pregnancy and she birthed me. And what is amazing is they acknowledge that and they steal that logic in the definition of terms. It says the act defines abortion. I'm quoting from Senate Bill 1142. The act defines abortion as a medical treatment intended to induce the termination of a pregnancy, except for the purpose of producing a live birth. So they know that terminating a pregnancy actually applies to birth. So next time somebody tells you, hey, a woman has a right to terminate a pregnancy, say, yeah, my mom did too. Thank God. She ended her pregnancy and I was born and she loves me. My mama loves me, gets down on her knees and hugs me. The fact is they use language dishonestly. If you listen to Life Matters, we spend a lot of time explaining that dishonest language is being used to agree to absurd things. So this approach of tourist abortion is very, very dishonest. They don't tell you all the facts of what's involved or what it is the California taxpayer is going to pay for. They don't tell you any of the questions that should be asked. And it's critically important that people know facts. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Life Matters.
Are you willing to step up to be a lifeguard? We're asking you to consider becoming a Life Matters lifeguard. On Life Matters, we cut to the depths of this cultural battle of ideas that has robbed America of its core values and robbed the innocent of their right to life. Anything you can pledge is appreciated. But if you pledge $19 a month, we will make you part of the Life Matters lifeguard team, getting you the important tools and dynamic information to help save lives and encourage others in understanding the lurking dangers in today's deadly cross currents of culture. Your pledge helps us with our costs of broadcast. It keeps the full understanding of the right to life going out over our numerous radio stations and also facilitates the important podcast that carries even more programming. Please go to the front page of the Life Matters website and click on the donate button. Your donation is deeply appreciated.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
So California, that's part of the battle here in our Normandy. If you're a Californian, understand that there's people fighting for the laws, for good laws that'll protect the innocent. The Americans have landed. The American Constitution was laid open by Dobbs, and American states can now protect the innocent in their borders. American legal thinking can now go against National Socialist thinking. That's a battle of the mind. That's where the real battle is. If you're an American and you live in California and you love life and want to see good days, make sure that you stand for life in your laws. Be involved in the policy process. Be involved in fighting for just laws. This is coming to election time, too, by the way. Here's another bill that California has introduced, and it's sailing through. As I told you, the type of socialism we're talking about controls the woke Democrat Party. They control Sacramento. They are passing what's known as a constitutional amendment. This constitutional amendment will go on the state ballot in the fall. It's Senate Constitutional Amendment 10. Unfortunately, because of the battle we're in, it enshrines as a constitutional right reproductive rights. But it's a lie. Well, first, I'm sorry. There's nothing reproduced in an abortion. Don't let people call this a reproductive right. It's exact, just as in Orwell, the true meaning is the opposite. There's nothing reproduced. It is terminating a life. They don't want the right to have a baby. They don't want the right to reproduce. They want the right to kill that baby. But that's what it's going to be called on the fall ballot. Reproductive Rights Constitutional Amendment. Oh, but they don't tell you anything about what it does. Nothing. You have to raise those questions. This gives no rights to the father of that child. None. Any element we talked about some in other states. Will minors be getting these free abortions without parents knowing? They don't care. You need to ask. Most people want to know. Most people don't realize that abortion is targeted, speaking of National Socialism. The abortion industry targets people by race. And the fact is, the vast majority of abortions are actually done on minority community. Planned Parenthood was founded with that in mind. That's not discussed in this reproductive rights debate. That's not discussed. You'll need to discuss it. There's a whole lot more coming. We don't have time to get into the various issues, but the fact is you need to raise questions. RU-486 given to minor girls that are pregnant? What do you know about RU-486? It's an extremely powerful and deadly drug, obviously, for the baby, but it's also killed women. It is an artificial steroid. They don't talk about the fact that it actually attacks a woman's body first. It causes her body to go into convulsive changes. And that's what kills the baby in her. But it's her body, through this artificial steroid, is altered dramatically and chemically. and it's had great harm against women. They don't talk about that. All of that's swept under the rug, and it'll be called, oh, it's a reproductive right and the Constitution guarantees it. Don't buy into the word salad. Don't do what many people do, and it's they let their mind go to sleep and they let false words be accepted as truth. An assertion is not a fact. And the abortion industry makes false assertions about both abortion and also about you. You're just a bigot. Woman hater. That's a lie. That's a slander. And if you're not speaking out against these abortions, then you are letting women be hated and dismissed. This abuses women. They're not getting all the facts. So you need to be ready with the facts. Now, we're talking about California right now, but wherever you are in the state, you can be prepared for what I'm going to tell you. Whatever state you're in, go to nrlc.org. Find the state affiliates of the National Right to Life Committee, and each of these states have the tools to equip you to be an ambassador for life, to give the facts at your church and in your community, at your school board. You need to be equipped to fight this battle of ideas. We're on the sands of Normandy right now in many states. So go to nrlc.org. California, go to californiaprolife.org. It's all spelled out, no hyphens. californiaprolife.org, and volunteer to be a life ambassador. We will show you and train you. Yeah, it's going to be like boot camp. And if you're not trained, by the way, to understand this battle of ideas, if you cannot give an answer when you need to, then you're a poor soldier. Then you're not taking the effort to understand this debate and to help others come out of the confusion by which they've been taken captive in the futility of their mind to do evil things. You need to help them understand and explain the truth. The facts of nature are on our side. Science is on our side. Every child is scientifically a unique individual, scientifically. So use those facts. Be prepared to go into the battle of ideas. We celebrate the Dobbs decision as we celebrate the invasion of Normandy. We're at the beginning of the end, but it is a tough battle ahead. In all of our states, don't give up. Even if you're in a state that had trigger laws, Planned Parenthood isn't going to give up. They're going to go into the schools anyways. You be ready wherever you are. We're battling an insidious and evil idea that has taken over a lot of American schooling. So be ready to fight and explain the truth and be friendly and firm. We're Americans. All those American soldiers. All those American soldiers were great fighters, but they were very friendly, especially with the French. So be ready for this battle. We're here to equip you. Again, go to nrlc.org on the national level. And in California, to the California Pro-Life Council, californiaprolife.org, and sign up to be a life ambassador.
Life Matters is a production of the California Pro-Life Council.